first off, what, a decade or more of the HEARTest Yard now, established in 2013. Just looking back from the beginning to now, what are you proud of that you've been able to accomplish and give back to the community?
It's hard to believe. We celebrated our 10th anniversary last spring, and what really started as a really trying time for our family, obviously with our son TJ being born in 2012 and undergoing the amount of open heart surgeries and the journey that he's been on, that just back in 2021 he had a full heart transplant. So it's been quite the journey. But now he's 11, the HEARTest Yard is almost 11, and just to think how far we've come. We started as a in-home nursing program where we just wanted to raise money and allow families to bring in nurses and therapists and caregivers to help ease that transition from the hospital into the home as they prepared for their next surgery. And now we have a HEARTest Yard Congenital Heart Center, which is a 20,000 square foot state-of-the-art outpatient service with all the subspecialties of the cardiac program here in Charlotte, house that. And we have a neurodevelopment clinic that we funded. We just recently expanded our efforts down to Charleston, South Carolina with MUSC Children's Hospital. So we now are building the HEARTest Yard nursing program there as kind of our starting point, very similar to what we did here in Charlotte. So it's been pretty crazy to see how fast we've grown and how far we've come, and events like this, community support and the partners that we've been able to build here in the local community are the only reason why it works. People continue to come to our events, people continue to open their doors to host us and have us, and frankly, without all of that, none of it would work. So we're very grateful, and this is arguably the best night of our year, is being able to do this event.
And so, third year of the Young Gala, what makes this event special? What makes you want to continue doing it? And of course, here at Steak 48.
Yeah, so Steak 48 obviously helps anyone who's had dinner here, whether it's here in Charlotte or anywhere in the country, I guess, understands just the experience that you're going to have. And I think the reason we call it the Ungala is, unlike most charity events where you go there, you're served the plated dinner, and the whole time people are just talking to you and asking you for money and selling you stuff and buy tickets and auction items. We don't do any of that. We have a quick little presentation during the cocktail hour, and then you sit down, whether you come with 4 people, 2 people, or 20 people. You buy your table, you sit with your people, and you have a great dinner. And it just feels like you're having a Saturday night out on a Monday night. And the whole restaurant is ours. All the staff, all the servers are incredible. And that's it. That's the whole night. And I think people have really connected with that. They're like, listen, I bought my table, I paid for my chair, let me just enjoy my time with my friends, let me mingle, let me connect, let me network with some really interesting people from around the Charlotte community. And I think that's the element that people can continue to want to come back and experience. And we're thankful now that we're able to do it now for the 3rd year.
Yeah, and speaking of the community, obviously you played here, Charlotte is home for you, but to continue to have the support that you have from the community, whether it's sponsors or people buying a ticket or old teammates showing up or new guys on the Panthers, what does it mean just to continue year after year have that type of support?
I think anytime you do what we do here in the community, you always fear at some point, do people move on? Do they get over it? And they're like, all right, we're going to move on. There's another really cool project or another cool initiative that we can throw our weight behind. And we're just constantly reminded, how much people understand the work that we do and understand the value of supporting Levine Children's Hospital. Not just their cardiac program, because obviously that's what we support, but just the entire hospital in general. I always say it's the best place you hope you never have to go to. And unfortunately for a lot of families here in Charlotte, that's not their reality. It wasn't our reality. We needed it. We relied on it at our hardest times. And we're grateful for that it's there. We're grateful that it's continued to grow and continues to get the support of the community. And for as long as we can, we're going to do everything we can to make sure they have all the resources and that they have everything needed to provide the next families that come behind, for the last 10 years and for the next 20 years. Unfortunately, there's going to be other families just like us that need that care. And our goal is that hopefully they get better care than we got. And if we can continue that pathway forward, mission accomplished.
And last year, this event alone raised $275,000. That's to help, I think it reached at least 60 families for the in-home nursing. So just to know that this event has the potential to raise that much money this year and more, what does that mean?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. For one night in a couple hours to be able to make, over $500,000 just in the first 2 years. And if we just continue to grow, we continue to grow that number every year. And Listen, it goes a long way. Healthcare is very expensive, right? It's, when you tell people, all right, you want to provide, impactful care, we don't want to just touch them. We don't want to just see them, okay, this one time, okay, that's a family served. That's not a family served in this world. To serve these families, you need to be there for a lifetime. From the moment these babies are born all the way through adulthood, we will see them through the HEARTest Yard Congenital Heart Center. They're going to be patients of ours for their entire lives through adulthood. And it's very expensive. And to be able to attract great doctors and to be able to attract great cardiologists and nurses and specialists who allow us to build a neurodevelopment clinic. It takes a very special person to run that clinic. We had to go out there and attract them and recruit them and say, okay, we have a world-class facility. We have the funds and the resources and the support. Leave your current job to come build this here with us. That takes a lot. And dollars don't go as far in the medical community as they do maybe in some other causes. And I think that people understand that in today's world. So we are, again, it's for this event to raise what it does. And, we have 5Ks and golf outings and the Ungala here at HEARTest Yard at Stake 48. We have a lot of ways for people to connect with our foundation. And we're fortunate that we have a lot of ways to raise money to, in essence, support the Children's Hospital.
Yeah, and I think sometimes families don't realize the expense until they're in it. And then it's like, wait, my child needs this help, but it costs what? And so just to know that you're providing that support, whether it's just resources, it's someone being there, it's the facilities that you're building. What does that mean to you and your family to know that? Because, look, a regular doctor's visit, you don't know what you might be hit with, right? And you're like, that costs how much? And my insurance only covers this much? Or
exactly
if you don't have insurance or whatever it may be. So to provide that resource, what is
exactly. And the entire goal of the HEARTest Yard initially was the in-home nursing program that you touched on. And the way that was set up from the beginning, we were very clear. There is no application process. If the doctors deem you medically eligible for this, meaning your condition, you need this is a impactful service to you, it's covered. You could be the richest person in Charlotte, you're covered. Like we were not going to get into that game of well, you got to apply and we'll look at, no, like if you need this care, we're going to give you this care because we understood firsthand, whether you have the resources or not, it's a very trying time. And to be able to take that little bit off their plate makes a really bad situation maybe slightly better. And you're never going to make all the people's pain go away. You're never going to make all the people's stress and anxieties and worries ever go away. But if you can just make it go away a little bit, that was always our goal. And to your original question, like connecting with these families, the story I always love to tell, we have a 5K every spring. And again, something small, but I'll never forget, a couple of years ago, a mom came up to me and she had her shirt on and she had a congenital heart baby and the newborn was home. And she goes, the only reason my family is able to be here today, to be in this event, is because one of your HEARTest Yard nurses is actually at home right now caring for our newborn. The baby was a couple months old, so not a newborn, but like our baby at home. And so this family could go connect with other families, share their story, probably get out of the house for the first time since the baby was even born and have a day of just like take a deep breath, walk for a cause, knowing your baby is at home and a nurse who's been trained to care for them, who's been trained in that area. Like that story always stuck out to me. I was like, that's why we do it, right? Yes, they're getting world-class medical care, yes. But you know what? That mom also got an afternoon that she hasn't had in, frankly, probably over a year. Right. And that matters too.
Absolutely, yeah. And then for the kids, obviously TJ and his brother and sister, do they realize the impact that they also have and like what they mean to the community? Are they old enough now to kind of understand it or grasp it? Because I think people looked at TJ, right? And they looked at his story and they're like, he's our local hero and that kind of thing.
I think so. I think TJ's story is initially what was the hook. I think people saw what we were going through and saw the struggles that he went through. I mean, even just up until a couple years ago with the transplant. And I think from then it's grown to like, this is so much bigger than TJ, right? Like TJ's just one of countless kids just in our community, let alone across the country, that share a similar journey and share a similar story. But yeah, I think what's been really cool for us is they don't come here to Stake 48, much to their dismay. They don't understand why they're not eligible to come to this. But they volunteer at our 5K, and my daughter runs every single merch stand at our golf outing, and they wear their HEARTest Yard gear to school, and we'll show up at a gym or a soccer field on a Saturday morning in Charlotte, and you will find one person, at least one person, wearing our hoodie, have a heart. So when they see it, especially TJ, like he's at the point now where he understands it. He gets the impact. He calls them his heart friends. You know, when he was a baby, he was cute and all that, but now he's in 5th grade. He's got a little more conscious realization of like what the impact is, and it's been fun to see them grow up alongside the foundation and be able to experience it at a different level every step of the way.
Yeah, what do you hope is the next chapter for the foundation?
Well, our most recent big play was, you know, obviously our efforts here are always going to be rooted in Charlotte, and they're always going to be rooted in Levine Children's Hospital. That's our core. This is our home. And but we had a really unique opportunity to expand. You know, we always saw this as larger than just one city and more of like a Carolinas type regional program. And so obviously being here with Levine Children's, this is the major center in North Carolina, and then the opportunity to partner with MUSC. My wife and I spend a lot of time outside the Charleston area. We have a home there, and MUSC Children's Hospital was a big reason why we chose that as like another place to spend a lot of time as a family because of their cardiac program and being one of the biggest centers in South Carolina. So it just made sense. We approached them so we hold a big charity golf outing on Kiowa Island down there, and we're developing a couple other events similar to this downtown Charleston to grow the HEARTest Yard, similar trajectory that we did here, but we're starting from the beginning. We're starting with the in-home nursing care through the HEARTest Yard, and we're going to build that up and hopefully be able to replicate the impact that we've made here down there. So now we have 2 centers that we support, and that expansion was a big deal for us, and from there we'll see. But right now we have enough to tackle, so we're going to start with that.
Ed, for folks who want to be a part of the Ungala or just be involved in general, how can they do that?
Yeah, so I mean, they can always find us, you know, the HEARTest Yard. We're on social media. We always post all of our stuff on Instagram at the HEARTest Yard. They can go to theheartestyard.org and find, you know, updates of events, ways to volunteer. Obviously, everyone can always donate. And I think the biggest thing on our website is they can pull up all of our financials. They can see where does our money go, where is the impact. We are very transparent. We want people to look into us. Like we are like, yes, look at us. Look where all our money goes. Like, and that it's something that we take great pride in because we understand, listen, and especially in today's day and age, there's a lot of ways to spend your money. And there's a lot of things pulling at different people and a lot of things, you know, that affect your purse string. So for people to trust us with their money and trust us with their time and energy is not something that we take for granted, and we want to be good stewards of that. And we've tried from the very, you know, for 10 years, that's been our goal, is to make sure people understand the impact, right? It sounds good. Coming to this dinner is amazing. You get dressed up, you take pictures, you have fun with your friends, you drink too much, all's fun. But like at the end of the day, why are we doing this? Like, where does the money go? What is the impact? Like, those are the stories that we love to show because that's what we're most proud of.